Hi guys, welcome to Football with Brownie. Hope you're well, keeping safe, keeping each other safe and spreading the love. In this big bad world of ours, before we go any further, please like, share, most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Remember, subscription is free if you haven't done it yet. Hit that subscriber button right now. Okay, long time no speak to tonight's guest, Kieran Maguire, football finance expert, Price of Football podcast. The link will be in the description. And welcome, Kieran. Many thanks for accepting my invite.
Well, thanks for the invite back. I'm amazed you want me back after the chaos I caused last time.
No problem at all. No problem at all. And as a Brighton fan, congratulations on your latest result.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've been watching them for 50 years. Without doubt, the most complete performance. To beat Manchester United, aside of that caliber, 4-0 is a hell of an achievement. And the fact that it should have been 7 or 8. I don't think I've ever been so proud or stunned to be a fan.
Yeah, well, it was only a couple of weeks ago that you actually put a Judas bet on, saying that Norwich could turn you over, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, football's it's that crazy game.
Yeah, no problem. Kieran, as you know, I'm a big Cardiff fan and big fan of Championship football as well, and that's why I brought you on. Really, with all the clubs now coming out of the pandemic, and I know the Championship clubs chasing the golden goose, really, or the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, which is the Premier League. And coming out of COVID, I know that many of the Championship clubs are still in a bit of distress, let's just say, as businesses. And so now all the accounts of Cardiff have been recently published. What's your opinion of the state of affairs, really?
Well, it seems a crazy thing to say, but Cardiff losing £200,000 a week isn't a particularly bad result compared to many other clubs in the Championship. They did benefit from parachute payments, which made a considerable contribution. They were almost 90% of total income, and 2022 will be a challenging year, I think, for Cardiff, because broadcast income is going to come down very, very sharply, because when they were relegated immediately following being promoted, you only get 2 years of parachute payments.
Yeah.
And the broadcast income, which was £48 million in 2021, is going to fall to around about 7.5 in 2022. So it will be a tough thing to acclimatise to. But the fact that the club's there at the end of the season, I know it's not been the greatest of seasons, is indicative of the continued support from the board.
Well, in recent years, because of the parachute payments, Kieran, you've got the clubs, you've got the Norwiches, you've got the Fulhams, who, when you look at it, seem to be playing the parachute payment game, and if you look at the likes of Cardiff and Swansea when they come down, because and it's basically if you don't work the parachute payment game correctly, then you could be stuffed for a number of years.
I'm slightly more reserved with regards to parachute payments, because the aim of parachute payments is to prevent clubs from going into administration when they're relegated. Such is the gap between the Premier League and the Championship, and that objective has been achieved. We've seen the likes of Sunderland go down to League One, and Sunderland, remember, had 2 years of parachute payments in League One and still failed to get promoted. So they're not a guarantee. And I think if we take a look at the two clubs who are at the top of the Championship, and both have been promoted. In the case of Fulham, they are owned by Shahid Khan, who is he owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a ridiculously wealthy individual, and he's put in about £500 million into the club. He's put in far more money than Fulham have got in the form of parachute payments. In Alexander Mitrovic, they've got the record goal scorer in that division. And he signed a new contract last August, and that contract is worth somewhere between £5 and £6 million. Now, that's not coming out of parachute payments. That's simply because the club's got an owner who's willing to just spend the money. Also, in the case of Bournemouth, again, you'll know more about this than I do, but when I took a look at Bournemouth, they signed 5 players on deadline day.
Oh, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry, Kieran.
Yeah. I don't know where one of those players came from. That money came from their billionaire owner. It didn't come from parachute payments.
Right, okay.
So, parachute payments make things more equal on the pitch? No, they don't. But they are not, in my view, the biggest single factor. If we take a look at Norwich will always be a good side in the Championship because they've got a big, decent crowd, and they sell out every week, and that helps as well. And they've got a good academy system in the area. So things like that are of benefit.
So with all the owners putting that kind of money into Championship clubs, is it? I'm not a West Ham board lover, not by any stretch of imagination. But with recent comments by Karen Brady saying that why should the Premier League be passing this money on to Championship and other and the leagues below, when those Championship clubs are actually funding those type of contracts and type of transfer fees? Has she actually got a point there?
I can understand where she's coming from. She wasn't saying those things when West Ham were in the Championship about a decade ago, though.
Good point.
So we do see double standards. The gap between the Premier League and the Championship is a cause for concern because it encourages clubs in the Championship to gamble, to try to get promoted. It encourages clubs at the bottom of the Premier League to gamble, to avoid relegation, because even with parachute payments, you're going to see your income go down 60, 70 million pounds. And, that is something which you have to bear in mind.
Yeah.
My personal view is that some form of smoothing is required, but the people at the top of the EFL, they say this is the only problem. Well, I don't think it is the only problem, because there's only a certain number of players in football. Just because you've got more money to spend doesn't mean you can't have more players on the pitch.
Yeah.
So and players will want to play somewhere.
Sorry.
So it's trying to work out what's fair, but there's also a big gap between the Championship and League One, and the people that focus on the likes of Norwich and Watford and Fulham ignore the likes of Wigan and Barnsley and Peterborough and Rotherham, who are going. So I think there's double standards coming from some people at the EFL, because you've got parachute payments in the EFL itself. So it's okay to have parachute payments in the EFL. Why is it not okay to have parachute payments in the Premier League? We've got parachute payments in Italy, in France and Spain. Admittedly, we don't have them in Germany, but the reason why we don't have them in Germany is that the TV deal covers all 2 divisions. Right. So if we go back to why there's a problem, it goes back to the creation of the Premier League itself. So there's an awful lot of issues, and part of the problem with the Premier League is that the Premier League's too successful.
Yeah,
because I watched some Premier League matches last week, and then I think it was on the month. Was it Bank Holiday Monday? It was or the day after. It was Middlesbrough versus Cardiff on Sky.
Yeah.
Now, what were the viewing figures for that match?
Oh, you probably know. I know what you're saying.
And no disrespect to either club, but
no, I know
the only people that be watching that will be Middlesbrough and Cardiff fans.
Yeah,
there won't be many fans watching it overseas. So it's not like we know that Manchester United versus Chelsea or Liverpool versus Manchester City, they attract global audiences.
Yeah,
and Reading versus Barnsley doesn't.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's because the Premier League has become this incredibly successful, incredibly popular product, and the EFL, which I think is absolutely brilliant, but it's not a page turner. It's not going to grip the imagination, and the suggestion that the solution to football's problems is to give the EFL 25% of the money and all of the problems will go away, I think is very naive, because every time the EFL has generated more money in recent years through, ironically, the biggest single source of revenue for the EFL is from the Premier League in what's known as solidarity payments. That money's just simply gone straight on wages.
Yeah, and we got you. I'm glad you mentioned that Middlesbrough Cardiff game. It's simply because, well, as you know, I recently moved from Marbella, and I did take a keen interest in the Spanish leagues. Marbella being in the 3rd tier of the Spanish league, but because of the vast landmass of Spain, it's in 4 sections: north, south, east, west regions. And going back to before our time of watching football, you used to have Division 3 North South.
Yeah.
Now, is there any argument to help? Because the amount of mileage for those away fans for the Middlesbrough Cardiff game done on that Bank Holiday Monday, and you do have other complaints by travelling fans. You come from Brighton. When you're in the lower leagues, some of the travelling can be an absolute nightmare. I am just wondering, is there an argument to rethink the lower league structure? Because surely more localized games will bring more revenue and more interest through the gate as well.
The answer is possibly. We do have National League North and National League South at the 5th tier. So we do have regionalisation of football below a certain level. As a fan of a club that's played in all 4 divisions, I quite like the fact that I had the opportunity to go to Carlisle, to go to Oldham, to go to Huddersfield, to go to Hartlepool, because it ticked off another ground.
Oh, yeah. Even on a cold Tuesday night in January.
Yeah. I saw us lose 7-1 in Huddersfield on a Tuesday night. I saw us lose 71. Sorry, Siri decided to join in there.
No.
So I saw us lose 7-1 to Huddersfield on a Tuesday night. Got home 4 o'clock the following morning. Was it great? No, but would it have made it any better if it was, Reading or even Cardiff would have probably be in the south. So and what you find is that you could have potentially two clubs that are 10 miles from each other in the Midlands, and one of them ends up in the south and one of them ends up in the north, and they never get to play each other.
That's fair point.
I can see both sides of the argument, and we are now in a position where it's £1.65 for a litre of petrol, and train prices are ridiculous as well. So it's expensive being a football fan, and pretty challenging when the cost of living going through the roof. But if the money's that tight, simply don't go to the away match full stop, would be my view.
That's a good point. It's a good point. On about money, and it's a bit of a coincidence because Cardiff actually played over a weekend, going to Derby, and the goings on at Derby. Look, I just want to put out there's been off a few issues between Cardiff and Derby, especially a certain postponed game a couple of seasons ago. But just as a football lover and a football fan, I wouldn't want to see any team go out of business, and that would include Swansea. Don't tell other Cardiff fans, but it includes Swansea. But what's been happening at Derby, Kieran? Because today now it's come out with the administrators giving a further extension to the preferred bidder. But this preferred bidder seems to have had some communication breakdown as well with former Cardiff chairman Peter Ridsdale at Preston. Is this guy just another PR? Is it a PR stunt, do you think?
Well, if we deal with sort of things, I mean, first of all, with regards to your first comment, I absolutely understand where you come from in terms of Swansea, because you can't have a rival. You can't have a rivalry without rivals.
Yeah.
And you hate the club, and you want nothing but bad things to happen to them, and you want them to get knocked out of the FA Cup by a non-league club, and you want their centre forward to be found in a frogman's outfit in a basket in a bag full of custard with two hookers. All of that is that's why we hate. Yeah, that's the stuff that we love.
Yeah.
But what you actually find is, of course, secretly we all know that I've got more in common with Crystal Palace fans, and you've got more in common with Swansea City fans than we have with all of the plastic fans who follow the likes of Liverpool and Manchester United and Chelsea. So at least you are genuine. Nobody follows Swansea or Cardiff for the glory. It's because it's your town, it's your sense of identity, it's your community, it's your culture, and that's what we buy into, and that's why we hate the town next door, because it's slightly different. So there's that issue. Now, when it comes to Derby County, what happened with Derby is that when they were acquired by Mel Morris in, I think it's 2015, 2016, he tried effectively to buy promotion by trebling the wage bill and by investing in players, and that didn't work. So then he sold the stadium to a company he set up, and that didn't work from the profits of that deal. And then he got bored, and there was a huge HMRC tried to wind the club up, so he hid behind COVID as an excuse for not paying the PAYE bit deal, and then he got bored and put the club into administration. But he put the football club into administration, but he kept the stadium for himself. And this, and I'm not saying that the administrator's job is an easy job, and they've been critical of Wycombe Wanderers, they've been critical of Middlesbrough Football Club, they've been critical of the EFL, they've moaned about COVID. The one person they've not been critical of is the person who's appointed them and who's agreed to their £2 million fees for this gig. So it doesn't help when things like that come out. Chris Kirchner was interested in buying Derby County. He's been sort of conducting himself through social media, which has benefits and drawbacks. And he then pulled out in December, saying that he wasn't happy with the administrators, he wasn't happy with Mel Morris, and that was fine. A couple of months later, he's then rumoured to be involved in buying Preston. And in relation to Preston, the stories I've heard was that Preston wanted an extra £1.5 million in respect of monies owed for player transfers, and he says, "Oh, I didn't agree to that." And also, one of the members of the family who owned Preston was just downright rude to him. And again, we're not privy to those conversations. And then the next minute, he's back involved with Derby because the local council saying, well, perhaps we can come up with a solution for the stadium issue. And as far as the stadium is concerned, could the council buy the stadium from Morris, who is the owner, and then lease it out to the new Derby County? So that is an option. But then what have we got? We've got a situation in which Morris, first of all, has subtracted money from players and other members of staff's pay and kept that money and not paid it across as tax. And now, effectively, the local taxpayer is being used to bail out Morris as well. And you can understand why some people, especially if they're not football fans, might feel, why is a local multi-millionaire who's been very successful in business, he's still got his CBE, he's still Derby's only ambassador for business, despite the fact that he's stiffed loads of local creditors. Why is he being treated in such a special way? It's because he owns the stadium and he's using that as a bargaining chip in all of this, and that's causing bad blood. So the administrators said to the EFL they had enough funds to take Derby to the end of the season, which was the 7th of May. Now, we're recording this on the 9th of May. Do they have further funding to pay this month's wage bill and so on? We genuinely don't know. But they've given Chris Kirchner an extra week in which to come to some form of arrangement with Morris. We don't know whether that will take place or not. Morris isn't an easy person to deal with, that's for certain. Is Chris Kirchner a charlatan? There's no evidence of that.
We got Peter Ridsdale's word on it at the moment, haven't we, really?
And I got a phone call from Peter Ridsdale, of which I can't reveal the contents, but I will say he wasn't happy. Chris Kirchner would have incurred significant costs in terms of legal fees, advisory fees, and so on. So if he is a charlatan, it's a strange thing. It's a strange way to go about it, incurring, giving loads of money to business professionals.
Now that I wonder where Mike Ashley would come in at Derby, because Mike Ashley was linked to Derby right at the early stages of its administration, and now he seems to have. Just taking not one, but a couple of steps back. And I heard you on a podcast saying he's kind of like, he's not happy with the HMRC bill. So he's left his kind of telephone number on the desk of the administrator and saying, look, if anything, if it does fall through, then give me a call.
It's not over till the fat lady sings, and Mike Ashley is very good at picking up a bargain. So that's where his position is. Clearly, he's not the preferred bidder, but could he come into the equation? Yes, he could. If you take a look at where his company is based, there's the opportunity to do that as well. So we'll see.
And
never say never. It would
and
business
regarding Mike Ashley, I'm hearing reports that he's been linked with Cardiff.
I heard a similar story a few weeks ago. Now, where these stories come from, could they just be internet rumors? Are they people? Is it people putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5? We genuinely don't know. Are Cardiff up for sale? Every club in the Championship's up for sale.
Yeah.
Because there's so many owners who've just got fed up to the back teeth of all of the money going out. They get no thanks for the money that they do put into the club. We've just had 2 years of COVID where there was a genuine fear that we could be losing significant numbers of football clubs. And it's thanks to fans, it's thanks to government, it's also thanks to owners that we've still got 92 clubs in existence.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. And, because people know the bags of money Mike Ashley have got after the sale of Saudi, sale of Newcastle to the Saudi investment group, it could well be the media just putting 1 and 1 together and getting 10,000.
Yeah, absolutely right.
What's your opinion on Brighton and going forward? Your manager seems to be linked with a number of higher profile jobs now.
Yeah, I find this very strange because we had not won a home game since December the 26th. So would Spurs fans or would the Spurs board be willing to continue to employ a manager who's delivered 4 home victories in a season? My personal view is Graham Potter is the right person for Brighton, and Brighton is the right club for Graham Potter because there is a board of directors who can see the bigger picture, who don't respond to internet trolls and Arsenal fan TV and things like that. He's given a sensible budget. I think Graham Potter as a man is somebody for whom football is important, but it's not the most important thing in his life. His family, his privacy, the people he hangs out with. He doesn't hang out with football people. He's got his own friends and so on. And Brighton's the type of city where he can go out for a meal with his mates or his family and he won't be bothered.
Yeah.
Now, can you do that if you are a high profile person in the bigger cities? So could he manage at a higher level? Yes. If you take a look at his record over 3 years, it's been gradual improvement of the club. I think he's absolutely wonderful because I've never heard him slag off referees. I've never heard him slag off the opposition. If we do lose a match, he's philosophical about it. As he always says, if we win a match, we're not the greatest team in the world, and if we lose a match, we're not the worst. And that's not necessarily what fans want to hear. They like the panto element of being a football fan, and he doesn't deliver with regards to that. So you could easily see things not working out at a bigger club. Could he improve Manchester United? Without doubt. I think he could improve most clubs, but if things don't go right, would he have a board of directors that would continue to back him? I'm not so certain. Personally, I think he would be great as an England manager. If Guardiola decided to go at Manchester City, I think sort of the Potter philosophy is very similar to the Guardiola philosophy, but on a much tighter budget.
Maybe next Crystal Palace manager.
Yeah.
But on that note, Kieran, many thanks for your time tonight. I know it's late back in the UK. I just want to say thank you ever so much. You very communicative. Whenever I need a question asked, you do get back to me. And I just want to thank you for being you, really, over the last 12 months or so.
Thank you.
And all the best for the Price of Football podcast. I enjoy every single show. It does put a smile on my face. The banter both you and Kevin have, and all the very best for the future, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yes, well, we're even doing live shows now, which
I know. You know what? I've been looking at the dates. I'm thinking, can I get to Accrington? Because I know that I'm going. I know that I'm going to go back to the UK. But when I do go back to UK, visiting family and so on, I promise that I will be linking up to the One Life event.
Yeah. Well, cheers. Thanks again, Brownie, and keep up the great work. And I hope things improve for Cardiff on the field and off.
Oh, jeez. See the grey hair coming? This is why I'm wearing a hat now.
Very good.
Many thanks. And
cheers now.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.